Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at what are your dreams trying to tell you. There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the red Jasper, along with these cards. Group 2 is the Malachite, along with these cards. And group 3 is the Amethyst, along with these cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the red Jasper, along with these cards, which I'll start with to see what are your dreams trying to tell you. We have pleasure, healer, wind, the sacrifice, and the ancient ones. So it really feels like for a lot of you, your dreams, you're being activated in your dreams. You are experiencing some energetic upgrades, parts of your ancient soul lineage, your ancient heritage, even in terms of your bloodline, maybe even portions of your literal familial lineage that you are unaware of. You may come from a long line of healers, of helpers, of medicine people from different cultures. This can relate to kind of more traditional forms of healing. This can be Eastern medicine. This can even be Western medicine. This is also applicable to something energetic, the idea of a light worker, where just your very essence, your very energy, your very presence in whatever it is that you're doing, just being yourself, being around other people is very healing. It's very uplifting. This can also pertain to healing of the earth, healing of kind of the natural environment. Maybe you are somebody who is really drawn to gardening, to ecology, to conservation. Maybe you are really drawn toward a vegan lifestyle or a vegetarian lifestyle. All of these kind of sort of 3D inclinations are an extension, it's a manifestation of this light that you hold inside of you that is a very healing light. It's a light that wants to help. It is a constructive light, as opposed to, maybe more destructive forces such as fear or greed or gluttony that can also exist within us. You may be confronting a lot of shadows within yourself at this point in time in your dreams, a lot of difficult encounters in your dreams, maybe dreams of struggle as well, literal struggle, or where you feel very emotional in these dreams, very pulled in many directions, either extremely happy or even deep sorrow or a sense of loss, directly related to kind of the themes of these dreams, or even just something that you kind of, it doesn't necessarily make sense when you wake up and you're sort of overcome with these emotions. Maybe you wake up and you are crying. You can still feel kind of what was going on in these dreams, in this dream sense. With the ancient ones, you might even be kind of encountering some of your passed on loved ones in dreams and just very overcome with emotion. A lot of pent-up emotions, pent-up grief that you had not necessarily dealt with. This can also be people who have passed on that maybe you weren't on such good terms when they passed from this life. And so there's a lot of kind of unresolved anger or resentment there, to where it fills you almost with a negative or a dense feeling, that you carry on with you throughout the day. Kind of, why am I thinking of this person? Why am I dreaming of this person? I had been estranged from them. I had cut contact off from them. Kind of, why are they showing up now in this dream sense? This can even apply to people who are still living, that you are encountering in kind of the dream space at this point in time, that again, these very profound emotions, these very heavy and dense emotions, very intense emotions are coming up that are experienced in that dream sense and also kind of in your waking reality. And again, it's this idea of some kind of an activation that is happening. And in order to enhance your light or to become more aware of your light, you must confront some aspect of your shadow. It's part of the sacrifice that, almost with this very profound light, you also cast or you carry with you a very profound shadow as well. And this may be things that, again, this is unresolved in your waking conscious. If this is people that you have some kind of a grudge with, some kind of a disagreement with, you're at odds with, whether they are living or they are deceased. There's still this cord of emotion that attaches you to this person or these people or these situations. That maybe in your waking reality, you've been focusing on other things. You've been trying to kind of move on with your life, direct yourself toward an abundance mindset, surrounding yourself with people and circumstances that are uplifting to you. And again, kind of encountering or facing these individuals or kind of replaying these scenes in your mind, maybe in the form of, these people just show up very benignly, but then you wake up and you're sort of like, why am I dreaming of this person? Why am I thinking of this person? I've tried so hard to move beyond this, and it leads to a lot of frustration that then you're having to kind of process and work through. Again, it's something that not that some of you may have kind of been avoiding this shadow work in a very conscious sense, almost compartmentalizing this, focusing too much on trying to really remain in that sort of light and love only vibration at the expense of, addressing or owning or kind of working your way through in a constructive manner some of these heavier kind of shadows that go along with that. So there may be a little distortion that is happening in your 3D reality that in the dream sense, you're needing to work through these things. It's a matter of this work needs to be done, whether you do this consciously or it's something that again comes up during that unconscious or that subconscious state while you are dreaming. And so if this has been very, difficult for you to kind of deal with and very frustrating for you, sort of why these people are kind of showing back up, why these same themes and archetypes are showing back up, again, it's something that hasn't been addressed. It's been compartmentalized in your 3D reality. You're needing to deal with it in order to step more fully into that purpose, to step more genuinely and in a complete more of a complete way into that energy of love and light by also holding space within you for kind of that density and that shadow. We can't have one without the other. And so this can also be this encouragement to start participating more in this shadow work, kind of with this dark wheel back here, some of that darkness that you hold within, maybe that you had healed up to a certain point, but that there are kind of these residual almost cords or tethers of it that are still attached to you in some way, that you're needing to revisit this and participate with it very consciously on a next level, maybe readdressing some of these things from kind of the point of ascension and vibration that you are at currently, the work you've done up to this point or previously to close out some of these cycles. You have grown, you have evolved. There's more light and effectiveness. You can get deeper into those roots than you were before, earlier on in your journey, or when these circumstances happened. Kind of that process even of grief. If this is somebody who's passed on, there's something new about your vibration, something new about how you've been activated and how you are kind of growing in that vibration, that there's a deeper element of healing that can take place for you. This can also really tie into healing with somebody who is in the realm of spirit energetically. And that doesn't often, we kind of think of, okay, we have an unresolved issue with somebody. And sort of the typical view is, well, then we're going to need to reincarnate again. It becomes viewed as this sort of karma between two people, that if we don't settle it in this life, then it's going to have to wait till the next life. And this is really bringing in the idea and kind of bringing your attention to the reality that you don't have to wait for the next life. This doesn't have to wait for the next go around. That there are ways in which you can, participate with these individuals in the realm of spirit to sort of heal these things, to offer that forgiveness to them, or to be open to the forgiveness that they are attempting to kind of bring to you or to ask of you by showing up in your dreams, by showing up in the realm of spirit, that the relationship can on some level be healed at this point in time. The person who is living, is currently in the flesh, has the ability to transmute this, to move beyond this, to clear this path very profoundly, to free yourself from those tethers at a soul level, so that you don't have to keep going through this almost like a somersault with certain souls or individuals. This can also tie into the idea of sort of healing remotely issues or, points of contention that you have with people who are still living. Again, this doesn't need to be something that you kind of carry with you as a weight, as a grudge, as sort of, this very negative memory. And this doesn't mean that you smooth things out and you allow any of these people back into your life, but you're really being called in the dream sense to address more consciously some degree of maybe resentment or heaviness or density that you have been carrying around with you through these experiences in conjunction with these people, or even these themes or archetypes. It can be beyond the individuals who are showing up. There's some kind of blanket theme that goes along with that, whether it's rejection, whether it's betrayal, whether it's with the sacrifice kind of situations of unrequited love, maybe feelings where, you felt very tricked or very betrayed or very disappointed by people, let down in some capacity, that in a very unconscious and deep soul level, you are carrying this around, and it's almost, it's this idea that, there is growth that can occur from this. As difficult as this is to face, these shadows, when you address them, when you deal with them, when you kind of revisit these things, now you're kind of, it's not even opening up old wounds. It's wounds that you may have perceived had kind of healed or had maybe sort of settled down, but there's something still unresolved within them. That by sort of taking the clues that you are getting in the dream state and applying your efforts, your shadow work, your healing work, your forgiveness practices, whatever it is that you do. Maybe it's the kind of the process of sort of writing letters to these people and, burning them and scattering the ashes or burying the ashes, to kind of set that intention in a very concrete fashion, something you are participating with physically, in order to, kind of make that known, make your intention known to the universe and to the energies that surround you and are within you, that you are ready to kind of transcend that. You are ready to move more closely to sort of your highest good, to kind of move on from this situation. It does feel that this is also bringing your attention to the fact that a lot of these things, a lot of these dynamics that may be surfacing, these kind of stories or these people, these characters that keep surfacing, it's the most difficult situations and relationships in our lives are often kind of that pathway to our greatest sort of victory and our greatest triumph. And it's something that is really, it's part of the sacrifice of that these people in these situations are almost this raw material that may keep coming up throughout your life, throughout the rest of this incarnation. It's something that you can't fully close the door to. And so when you move into this space almost of gratitude, when these things resurface, when these things come back up, that this is fuel, this is motivation for you to really look deeply inside and to recognize points of contrast. The image here on this healer card of Kuan Yin can really talk about compassion. And to a certain extent, it's compassion for these other people and these circumstances, understanding that everybody is really operating, with the tools they have and from the level of consciousness that they are at. But this feels really more specifically compassion for yourself. A lot of self-forgiveness may need to be taking place. And it's something that is beyond even your conscious awareness of that. Because you may be thinking, there's nothing I need to forgive myself for. Or I've moved beyond, this, I've closed the door on this. I've released this. I don't know why it's surfacing again. There's something that's deeply embedded within you. This idea of ancient ones, it's deep within your core. It's deep within your soul. Even the kind of feelings of frustrations about this, it's some level that needs compassion. You need to infuse the light that you carry within you on yourself. You may be a very giving person, trying to help others, trying to heal others, that light worker that is shining the light outward. Now's the time for you to really shine that light within. There's some form of maintenance that needs to take place within you. Again, revisiting, almost circling back around to some of these things. Not that you didn't do a good job up to this point in kind of healing them, but it's again, because of the way that your vibration has been raised, where you are at now in your consciousness and in your journey, you have a greater ability to infuse yourself with that healing light, to help mend these wounds on a deeper level, to help release yourself at a soul level, even more deeply than you had before or up to this point. And it's the idea with the healer of, first and foremost, the healer must heal themselves. You must know how to kind of do this to yourself. You're almost the living example of that. As you heal yourself, as you are that embodiment of healing, you then become a greater beacon and a greater kind of vessel or instrument for being that healing presence to others, either directly in the work that you do. If you are in a healing profession or you're drawn toward that, you consider yourself a light worker. This is something that you invest time and effort into. It can also apply to, just your general energy and your general vibration as you are moving through the world, as you are at the grocery store, as you are at work, as you are, spending your leisure time, doing whatever you do on your days off, just kind of going out and about, going amongst people, interacting with people, interacting with the natural world, and that vibration that you carry, that light that you carry being very contagious, emitting without effort, without meaning to. It's just part of who you are. And so this process right now, it's part of this ascension path. It's part of this ascension journey. You're getting ready to up level in some way. Maybe even this is helping to align you with your path or your purpose as a healer in some way. That these are kind of examples within yourself. These are deeply entrenched kind of core wounds. They reside deep within that shadow with this dark moon here on the ancient ones. It's things that you hadn't addressed, things that you thought you had dealt with, that there are still other kind of layers or fibers to that, that you're needing to be with this idea of wind. This is an energy of communication. It's an energy of almost letting fresh air in, bringing a fresh vibration into these things, reapproaching some of these old wounds. This doesn't mean going and seeking these things out, kind of digging through the closet of your past and deliberately trying to tap into things that were painful or difficult. But this is all in relation to what kind of comes naturally to you. Trusting in, what is surfacing in dreams. Again, people that are showing up, even just heavy emotions, unrelated to people, that you're experiencing, profound joy, profound loss, profound sorrow, fear, anxiety, pain, hopelessness, any of these things that come up, you're participating with your subconscious and with your higher self. They're giving you the clues. So then your waking reality, you almost have a task list. These are the things that need to be addressed. And there's an element of creativity here to where when you may be feeling sort of perplexed how to deal with these things, what to do about this. Part of this is really, it feels it is something in this portion of your journey that the solution to these things, or a way to kind of address them, it's going to come very uniquely to you. It's going to be something that is very much perhaps outside of the box. It's going to be something maybe that not a lot of people are doing, or it's something you hadn't thought to do before. Maybe a practice or a method that is often related to something else that you kind of, you alter that. You change that up, you mold that to fit this particular circumstance, and it becomes very effective for you. This is really encouraging you as well to kind of activate these ancient gifts, that intuition, that healing capacity in you, to forge a new path for yourself to that place of kind of release and acceptance with where you have been and where you are currently. This acceptance of, who you are, these innate qualities about you, and what you want for yourself moving forward. So it's an idea of kind of transmuting all of this, stepping more deeply into that role of healer, either to prepare you for the next sort of stage of your life, or if you are currently in the healing, arts, this is something that you practice, or something maybe you literally do for a living. If you were a doctor or a nurse, for example, a healthcare provider, in some way, your craft or your skill or your business or your profession, or just some innate quality about you is being enhanced, but it first requires addressing some of these things within yourself, clearing away some of this debris, the idea of winds of change, changing your approach, readdressing almost these dusty corners of yourself, things you couldn't access previously, but that through your life experience, through your work, through your self-healing work, through your practices in manifestation, in self-love, and cultivating that abundance mindset, you now have this ability to get even deeper into that. So definitely not to fear this, not to, be overly upset and frustrated by what is coming up for you, but to, again, look at that as kind of a task list that your higher self and your subconscious is providing for you, for your waking reality, for your waking conscious. Work you may have avoided that is now kind of needing to be done, or this is work you've done previously that now you're able to kind of dig deeper into that. You're able to dive deeper in. You're able to see it from a different angle and perspective, and kind of clear out some of those weeds or roots that were so kind of like far beyond your reach or your comprehension before. But now's the time. You are equipped, even if you feel very uncertain about that. Energetically, you're equipped. You've been activated. You're being infused with this light. It is not just the shadow that is coming up for you. With that, on the other side of that coin is also a profound light that you are being infused with. And you're really being called to address both sides of yourself, to have that compassion for yourself as a well-rounded individual, in order to, again, be able to shine that light even brighter by coming to a greater kind of acceptance of this aspect of shadow which exists within you, which will continue to kind of peek its head up from time to time. time, in order for you to, again, continually kind of layer by layer throughout the course of this lifetime, to just keep infusing that with light in new and reimagined ways each time these things surface for you. So I'm going to get a little bit of tarot to get some clarification about this. Okay, we have the moon, and that is Pisces and Cancer energy. Got the Knight of Cups, which is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The Lovers, which is Gemini. And the Nine of Cups, so more of that water energy. So water energy, water signs, always reminds me of the subconscious, and also with the moon, this can talk about that subconscious things that are hidden. So this all pretty much clarifies what came through with the oracle cards, that in some way with the Knight of Cups, you are being guided to infuse more love into yourself, into your shadow, into the parts of yourself that are unrecognized or that you've avoided up to this point in time. The idea of lovers can bring in this concept of kind of duality and balance, the light and shadow, the yin and yang aspects of self, that these dreams that you're having are really causing you to confront or to address the shadow side of yourself, which is a perfect mirror for the profound light that you have. The darkness that you hold within you is the counterpart of the light. And this energy with the Nine of Cups, this satisfaction energy, is again really urging you to come to terms with that, a greater acceptance of that, more compassion for yourself and what you've been through, and moving more into the state of gratitude for even the difficult experiences you've had, difficult people you've dealt with. Had it not been for those experiences of the bitterness, of the disappointment and the loss and the hurt, you would not be capable of understanding at such a deep and profound and intimate level kind of the experiences of joy and fulfillment and contentment. We need contrast in order to truly be able to understand and appreciate both polarities. Otherwise, if we're just, it creates this energy of imbalance. If you have nothing to compare something to, without nighttime, the concept of daylight, it doesn't carry the same sort of vibration or significance. Without that kind of, that darkness, you can't truly appreciate the nature of the light. And so these dreams that you are having, it is again, just really calling you to have a greater concept and focus kind of on everything that exists within you, all the potential that exists within you, recognizing the benefit of all these kind of polarities and the strata that exist within you, to come to this point of balance and reconciliation with the lovers inside of yourself, for both the things that, you are very proud of and that you proclaim, and also the parts of yourself that you keep hidden and that you don't necessarily want to address. In some way, the light that you hold within you that you've been so generous to share with others, it's now time to really share some of that in a more profound way with yourself. So I'm going to get a guidance card, a little angel card for you. Okay, and we have joy. You are being guided to do more things that make you happy. So this ties in with that card of pleasure that came through, in order to kind of, again, what I was saying with the idea of contrast, in order to be able to appreciate the light, the joy, the bounty within you and around you, and that you are capable of producing and becoming. You need to become more well acquainted, kind of with the opposite of that spectrum. This doesn't mean experiencing negativity. It means, you almost have enough of a collection of that in your past, to be able to kind of look at this, sift through it a little more, take some of its power away, things that you have been avoiding or you've been fearing, or that, still in some way have a grip upon you. You're releasing that grip. You are liberating yourself to move more toward that joy and toward that abundance by, again, recognizing and appreciating that, the sweet is not as applicable without the sour. Without these points of contrast, we are unable to fully, be able to decipher and differentiate and to choose what we want to experience, what we want to cultivate, what we want to invite or to allow into our lives. So kind of this density, these shadows, these things you haven't necessarily wanted to look at, they do serve a purpose. This doesn't mean that you're, again, opening the door to these things, inviting these people, seeking out these experiences, or, a kind of a real-time re-experiencing of these things. It's a matter of sort of the raw materials that you hold within you, knowing and loving yourself in your darkest corners in order to be able to be that light, to be that inspiration to others, to accept themselves in a more well-rounded and full capacity, to be able to more deeply appreciate the joy and satisfaction that exists in their life, precisely because they have come to terms with and are very accepting with, a lot of kind of the disappointments, the things that didn't work out, the things that fell apart, that hurt, or that were frightening. We need both. We need that sort of polarity. And so you're being called into a greater stance of union within yourself, because in a larger scheme, your vibration is raising. You're needing to kind of re-look at these things, look back at the old inventory of darkness you hold within you, in order to, kind of propel yourself into shining that light of love, that light of joy, that light worker quality about you more profoundly out into the world. By coming more to terms with your own darkness, you are that living example to others to do the same, to make that choice to move towards their light rather than kind of being chained or held down or tethered to kind of those more dense and sort of shadowy experiences and emotions. So I'm going to get some initials for you, and this can be first, middle, or last name, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got R, B, E, M, Z, K, O, D, H, and P. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings that are sent to you as a private YouTube link. Turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the Malachite along with these cards, which I will start with to see what are your dreams trying to tell you. We have Healing Chaos, Alchemist, the Ghost Dance, the Blade, and the Council. So there's definitely an energy of reconciling light and shadow, with the idea of almost the kind of lower nature, the shadow self with the ghost dance, and the higher self, kind of the light aspects of self with the council. Also here on kind of the black and the red striations on this heart here. So something to do maybe with heartbreak. Also obviously Healing Chaos would talk about that energy of kind of transmutation, which also comes through on this serpent here, the idea of shedding skin, of getting ready to step into a new chapter of your life. I'm feeling that for a lot of you, this can be related to some kind of new opportunity in love or romance that is getting ready to come into your life. And there's preparations that you are needing to make at this point in time. You may possibly be interacting with somebody, a new love romance, possibly somebody who is a counterpart, a soulmate of yours. For some of you, this could relate to a twin flame that you have been estranged from, or this can even really tie into the idea of somebody you thought was your twin flame, but was in fact a catalyst of this chaos, this, activating something within you, propelling you into that energy of kind of despair and distress as sort of an initiatory phase, a preparatory phase for you to encounter your true twin flame, somebody different who you had originally and maybe all this time had thought that it was. The idea of a pentacle here, it's almost like the real deal is coming in, whether that is again a genuine twin flame or even unrelated to that. If you have been on sort of a twin flame journey, a twin flame experience, you may be coming to a place of really reconciling and releasing that person, releasing that idea of them as your forever person, that idea of union with them, coming into union with yourself first and foremost, which is preparing you for a solid love, a love which is reliable, a love which meets you at your level. If your counterpart, if your person has been unwilling or unable to do the work on themselves up to this point in time, there's an idea as well with the blade. It's bringing up kind of, Archangel Michael and his sword of truth, kind of cutting away from that, concluding one narrative of your life and preparing you to really meet the love of your life, to encounter somebody who, can meet you at that level, has done the work within themselves, has, addressed themselves, has faced kind of their light and their shadow, who has transmuted a lot with that idea of alchemist, kind of turning the pain of their experiences or sort of the limitations and distortions within self into a place of empowerment, rising beyond circumstances or even a version of themselves. You're raising your vibration, you're healing a lot of that within you as kind of this, again, all these butterflies here around this tornado and healing chaos. You're getting ready to transform. Your love life is getting ready to transform. So you may be encountering somebody in dreams that you have yet to meet. This is that soulmate energy, your forever person, that future spouse, or even just the next kind of romantic relationship that you have. And it feels to be something where, if this is not a forever person for you, it is a relationship that you are getting ready to step into that will be very healing for you. If you've been through a lot of disappointment, you've been through a lot of letdown and darkness, maybe you've been in kind of a hermit mode, picking up the pieces in some way, coming to terms with what you've experienced, really focusing on your own kind of growth, reconciling the light and shadow within self. There's an idea with that of the next, you're prepared, you're ready to step out of that skin of being kind of in this healing mode, in this hermit mode. You're getting ready to step into the light of love, to meet somebody who is compatible with the version of yourself that you've become. And if this is, again, in conjunction to some kind of a twin flame journey, you've been doing the work and you're getting ready to be rewarded with the love you have been seeking. For some of you, this might be reunion with that twin flame if they've been doing the work also. But it feels more likely that this is a new experience. This is a new person, somebody very unexpected, that it might be a little bit startling with this. I'm getting the idea of almost... you kind of see this person initially and it strikes kind of some, a little bit of hesitation within you, hesitation about opening yourself up to love again, not wanting to repeat the same mistakes of the past, but that this is something where, this propels you into a new kind of experience. It's proof for you that you have really transcended some cycles or some obstacles or something within you that was kind of attracting a certain type of experience or a certain type of person for the purposes of almost cracking you open to the deeper reality of who you are, forcing you to take your power back, forcing you to kind of do some of this internal work in order to experience different circumstances in the outside. So again, you may be kind of interacting with this individual now in the dream state, somebody that you don't know necessarily in the physical world at this point in time, but the two of you are becoming really familiar with each other on the soul level. This can tie in with that idea of kind of a higher level soulmate, or a twin soul, even a past life connection. You may be kind of revisiting that as well. Memories, that these are more than just dreams. These are soul memories. These are kind of snippets or clips of what you have actually experienced with this person. Somebody that when they come into your physical reality will feel very familiar to you. And that can also be this sort of startling quality. A lot of deja vu, knowing that you know them from somewhere, but you're just not really sure where. And so this can also tie into, if you are on some kind of a twin flame journey, an ascension journey, and you are interacting with your twin a lot at this point in time, that there's some loose ends that are being wrapped up in that. A lot of healing that is also taking place in the dream state between you and that twin, things that can't or won't, they won't allow, or it's just, the circumstances are not right in your environments, or it's just more productive to accomplish this work at the soul level, kind of when that gatekeeper of the ego, that fear, that questioning, that logical mind is sort of, in rest. It's kind of stepped aside, or it's moved into a more passive capacity. That the two of you are able to interact on a soul level with one another, to really get in there and do a lot of that healing and the exchange of energy with one another, and kind of do that work that for whatever reason has not been very successful in a material sense. It's almost like kind of a trap door that's kind of, or a secret passageway that is kind of leading you both in that direction of healing individually, healing in kind of your understanding of that dynamic with one another, healing even for the potential of reunion with one another. It's a lot of work that is being accomplished and that is being done. It's an energy of truth that comes through that, again, the 3D self might not be able to necessarily accomplish. It's kind of bridging that gap with these two cards here that are at a distance, kind of that shadow self and the light self that are very separated. They're very segmented. Again, the idea of somebody you're at a distance with or estranged from, that in this dream state you are able to kind of come together, you are able to accomplish that work with one another, that in the material world at this present time is just not possible, or it's not possible as effectively. A lot of seeds as well that you are receiving, signs that may be you might be advised to kind of take note of. If you don't have a dream journal, you may want to start keeping that. It feels that a lot of these kind of dreams, little subtle things, little nuances, odd phrases that you hear. If you are somebody who maybe hears music in dreams, write down those songs, look at those lyrics, create a playlist of that when you wake up. Pay attention to what kind of comes through, any colors that come through in your dreams, and kind of looking into that, associations with the chakra. I'm really drawn to this yellow here on the blade, this kind of solar plexus energy, stepping more into that sense of empowerment. This kind of ascension energy. You're moving out of kind of a difficult and dense period. And with the snake there, with the serpent, that really brings to mind this kundalini rising, this kundalini activating. Your love life is getting ready to kind of enhance to the next level. That is a direct reflection of kind of the ways in which you are raising your own vibration. You are really activating yourself in that capacity and in your life. So again, anything that really comes through in your dreams, it might be of a benefit to kind of write this down, look into that. Any animals that are appearing in your dreams, look into that as like a spirit animal, meaning a totem animal, something where you can draw upon the strengths of those creatures. Perhaps it's even snakes. If you have a fear of snakes, looking deeper into that and seeing, snakes as sort of this, it's the idea of shedding. It's the idea of expansion. It's the idea of leaving behind that which no longer serves, which we have outgrown, and stepping fearlessly in all of our vulnerability out into the world, out into what the future holds for us, trusting that in time we will acclimate. As wobbly as that may feel, as uncomfortable as that kind of process of shedding may feel, in time we will adapt to our environment. We will become accustomed to that sense of newness, and that sense of fear will give way to this idea of mastery over ourselves and over our environment. So again, if you have a fear of snakes, maybe digging deeper within that to see, does this relate to a fear of change? Are you afraid of kind of letting go of a version of yourself? Maybe an idea of who you thought was your twin flame, an idea of being very tied to union with this person in a 3D sense. Have you been fearing opening your heart up to love again? Even if you haven't been dealing with a twin flame, or it's something that, is kind of, you've put that to rest, you've kind of closed that out. Maybe now you are at this precipice, at this doorway to experiencing, a love that doesn't come with as much chaos, a love which, helps to teach you through positive experiences, but that being so foreign to what you've been, really experiencing lately, what you've experienced up to this point in time. If you've been in hermit mode, maybe it's this fear of kind of coming out, going out into the world, any number of these things. But it's definitely, it's this energy of courage. It's this energy with the blade as well of being very proactive. Your dreams at this point in time are really encouraging you to step beyond this, that some kind of a period of healing, things that you have been through in your past, with the idea of the alchemist and kind of transmuting this pain into power, into wisdom, trusting in your journey, trusting in the work you've done so far and that you continue to do, and the investments you continue to make on yourself and into yourself, to make sense of your experiences, to kind of unpack and sort of come to terms with where you've been in life and in love. There's also an idea here where you might be visited by passed on loved ones with the ghost dance. In your dreams. You may also, with the council, this can talk about spirit guides or angels, or beings, kind of interdimensional beings, beings from kind of the higher planes of reality, even sort of, your star family, extraterrestrial beings, and any sort of fear that you have associated sort of with these creatures or these presences or these individuals or these souls that are interacting with you in the dream state. Again, that same kind of message with serpent. Are you fearing expanding your mind? Are you fearing expanding your world, your perception? These kind of people and these sort of energies and presences really showing up as well with the idea of the blade in a protective form. It might be something where it's a bit shocking to see some of these, especially with the kind of with the council, the idea of these sort of light beings that they make efforts to kind of take on a form that is pleasing, but at the same time there's an otherness about that. There's kind of an eerie quality about that when you wake up and you're thinking back on these dreams, you might kind of, that fear takes over and you're inclined to question that this felt a little strange. You're not sure what the genesis of that is, what the nature of that is, why these visitations are taking place. But with all of this kind of these potential situations and these potential energies that are participating with you in the dream state. Again, it's a very protective vibe that is coming through here, that they are making their presence known almost to reassure you that you are surrounded by and you are cloaked in all of this love and all of this energy and support and protection, both from the higher realms and kind of the shadowy realms, the lower realms, the realms of the dead, of passed on loved ones, and also the realms of entities and beings that had no physical form, that have only ever been kind of in the nature and the world of spirit, and kind of making their presence known, that it is safe for you to step into this next chapter. You're not going into this alone. You're not going forward alone. You always have this support to call upon. You have this reassurance. You almost relying on kind of these aspects of yourself. Your intuition as well can help you in vetting potential romantic partners, people that will gravitate towards you. If there is a fear of kind of repeating your same mistakes, or the same kind of encounters, the same characters or archetypes showing up, there is this idea here, this energy of you've cleared a lot of this clutter out from within you. You've closed out a lot of cycles within you. And in order to actualize the work that you've been doing very personally and internally, you need to get out there and have these experiences. You need to open your heart up and trust that the past does not necessarily need to dictate the future, that you have this power of choice. You have been armed with this wisdom, the wisdom of experience, the clarity to recognize the truth, to look beyond kind of honeyed words or exterior, sort of presentations, to really decipher and feel into, internal motivations, to feel into the energy of the situation beyond what the appearances are. And so again, kind of these presences that are with you, really indicating to you and letting you know that you are safe in this. You have a lot of support in this. To call upon these kind of forces and these presences within your life, for guidance, for reassurance, trusting first and foremost, that internal guidance that you have, not so much looking outside of yourself for that reassurance, trusting what you feel within. But then if you're experiencing these periods of vulnerability, knowing that you have so much support around you through this process. Archangel Michael might be very significant for you. He may be showing up in your dreams, either, however you envision him, however you envision archangels in whatever form they may take. He may be showing up as an energy in kind of a different guise, but it's that energy. He's there as that protective force, not just in the dream realm, but also in your kind of waking conscious and reality. Call upon him, arm yourself with his shield so that you have discernment, arm yourself with his blade so that you are able to cut through the illusions and move towards the truth. And knowing that you have all this support and this spirit energy around you can help you in kind of stepping out of that old skin, that old way of being. This imagery here also of the key can talk about, this idea of something that is being unlocked. You're unlocking the next stage of your life, the next stage of love. You're in this preparation mode, maybe again meeting with somebody in the dream state that you have yet to encounter in the physical world, and kind of touching bases with one another as sort of a hope or a reassurance that, this arduous and difficult journey of kind of closing out of cycles, of sort of facing your shadow and reconciling that with your light, cutting away from all which no longer serves you, healing a lot of the damage and the wreckage that has been left, repairing your heart, sewing that back together, piecing yourself back together, that on the other side of that is this reward of love. It is this, reward of reciprocal and mutual love. It is that counterpart energy, somebody who definitely balances you out. You are the yin to each other's yang, because you have become and are becoming and are continue to foster being the yin to your own yang. It starts within first and foremost, and the work you're doing within then rippling out around you. So again, a dream journal may be very helpful for you at this point in time to kind of unpack some of the symbolism. It may even be things that kind of like premonitions in a sense, that as you and kind of this new love or this reimagined love comes closer to you, you're able to look back on some things that are happening in the dream state right now, that almost come to pass. It's relevant. It carries through some of that symbolism. And these can also be those clues or confirmations that you need that you're on the right path. So I'm going to get a little bit of tarot to get some clarification about this for you. Okay, and we have the Page of Pentacles, which is Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Three of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Seven of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And the Knight of Pentacles, so more of that earth energy. So with the Page of Pentacles, this can talk about an offer, something substantial. This is really tying into the idea of, a love that is true, a love that is lasting, a love that is reliable. Also with the Knight of Pentacles, a very reliable energy, somebody who may be a long time coming, someone you have dreamed of for a while, someone you have been preparing for a while. This is the love that you have been working toward. This state of almost evolution as well, going from the Page to the Knight. It's that idea of kind of stepping out of that skin, moving forward into the unknown. With the Three of Wands, this is typically an energy of kind of the choice to sort of turn our backs to something, the choice to, in this sense, almost kind of let the past fall away, let these past ideas of ourself, of the nature of our experiences, maybe even attachment that we've had to a specific title with somebody romantically, or an expectation of union or coming back together, or kind of the purpose of that connection being that romantic partnership, opening ourselves up to a new horizon. In this imagery on this card here with these three wands and the triangle, this really is bringing my attention back to kind of the ghost dance and the council, that you are deeply supported. It's this idea of Trinity, where you are not moving forward alone. You have support on all sides. You have a lot of energy cloaking you. You have a lot of encouragement around you, a lot of signs that will be showing up for you in the material world that are kind of clues or nudges about the path forward. Again, that idea of dream journaling and what you write down, this can be things that you refer back to as kind of these new energies, or this new person is coming into your world, where you can then sort of look back and confirm or get yourself some peace of mind or some clarity about sort of the new experience that you have, the way forward that you're going. In addition to that support in terms of signs in the material world, there's also a lot of energetic support around you, a cloak that is around you that you need only call upon. You're not moving forward into this new chapter or phase unarmed or by yourself. It's also bringing forth the ideas as well of Archangel Michael's shield and his sword, that you are not empty-handed as you step forth. You have this discernment, you have this ability to cut through illusion and see truth. With the idea of the Seven of Cups, and this is an element of choice here, it's a choice to move forward. It's a choice to kind of let the past fall away and open yourself up to the new path that is being presented to you by spirit. You may also have choices in love as you open your heart up more to that. There could be a lot of different people, or several people, more than one, that are kind of gravitating towards you. And if there's any sort of hesitation about which choice is the best, maybe this is new love and a person who's returning, or you open yourself up and there are many potential suitors or several people, and that might be filling you with a sense of fear, kind of getting back out there, opening yourself back up. Again, there is this energy of cloaking and reassurance that the experiences of the past do not need to dictate the future. You have grown, you have evolved, you have taken kind of the lesson away from this experience that you've had, or difficulties that you've had in love. You're armed with kind of a greater ability to discern and to move in the direction of that which serves your highest good. So trusting in that, trusting in your ability to kind of navigate what comes towards you and to make the best choice for yourself. So I'm going to get some guidance, one of these angel cards for you now. Okay, and we have authentic communication. Archangel Gabriel is urging you to speak your truth. So this is really that idea, although this is Archangel Gabriel, it's bringing to mind that idea of Archangel Michael again, really making your needs known, being very clear when it comes to new love, as far as, or even somebody returning from the past, maybe a conversation, a direct conversation that needs to take place, being very honest with yourself about your needs and your requirements, what you are willing to tolerate and accept, and what you are not willing to entertain in your world. world in your life, reminding yourself of that, making that very clear to new people or potential suitors that come into your world, into your experience as you're stepping out of one phase of your life and into this kind of new chapter. Communication of that, advocating for yourself is very important. This can also talk about, again, communication in the form of signs that you will get, synchronicities that you'll get that may relate back to what comes through in dreams that can help you in navigating this path forward. This can also talk about communication in the sense of calling upon that spirit support, calling upon that spirit team, your passed on loved ones, your guides and your guardians and your angels, to really help you to discern, to decipher, to kind of sift through possibilities and to know sort of what direction and at what pace to kind of move forward. That there is also, again, this idea of communication. You and a soul romantically that you are meant to be involved with are meeting most likely in the dreams at this point in time. This person may be showing up literally in how they appear in the physical world, but it also feels that just energetically you'll be familiar with one another. They may be appearing to you almost in kind of the physical form they had in past lives, something you would have been familiar with or had interacted with, or just kind of the people that they were prior to this incarnation. So you may not necessarily recognize them physically when you encounter them, but at a soul level, you will be very familiar with one another. You are communicating with one another. You're being introduced, or rather reacquainting with one another at the soul level in the dream state at this point in time. So if this is this kind of energy that feels so new and yet so familiar, this is that kind of confirmation of somebody that is meant to cross your path, that is gravitating towards you, that you are getting closer and closer every day to intersecting with, that will really help to change your experience and your impression on love, will help to really heal a lot of the disappointment you've experienced by helping you to create greater satisfaction in the department of romance and love, a connection that is very reciprocal, a connection where needs are expressed and are honored and met, where boundaries are expressed and are honored and met, something that is very different from what you have known in love before. And this can be either, again, a twin that you have been estranged from who has done the work and you're ready to reconnect. But it feels like for most of you, this is a new person, somebody that is not from your past returning, somebody that is new, that really matches or mirrors this vibration that you have cultivated within you through the work that you've been doing. So I'm going to get some initials now, and this can be first, middle, or last name, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got R, S, E, L, W, Y, P, T, C, Q, A, I, and K. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings, which are sent to you as a private YouTube link. Turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. I chose the Amethyst along with these cards, which I'll start with to see what are your dreams trying to tell you. We have Thriving, Awakener, Standstill, Luminous Warrior, and the Sorcerer. So you are definitely being activated in your dream state. You are being pointed in some kind of direction. You may be noticing certain themes in terms of activities that are happening, things that are kind of in the background, objects that you may be seeing in your dream that feel very out of place, or it's a scenery that's very unusual. Maybe it's a location that is obviously, as happens often in dreams, it is different from where we physically live. It's, it can take place, say, in a house. That's coming through. In a house, for example, that feels like home. It feels like very, very familiar to you, and yet it is not where you currently live. This can be almost a premonition of a direction that you are kind of being urged to go toward, maybe to physically relocate or move. This can also really tie into this idea of awakening you to some greater purpose within you, something that you are meant to do that you may have been, with the idea of standstill, kind of procrastinating at, something that hadn't necessarily occurred to you as a possibility for a business, or even a location that you are being drawn toward, that is meant to kind of provide you with some new opportunity. If you're feeling very stuck in your life right now, there are clues that are really presenting themselves to you that are kind of signposts, guideposts, indicators. They feel very vague and kind of nebulous. And it's almost something to where, again, it's like an object, or, it's just a word that comes through that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, but that kind of in sort of the days, weeks, and months to follow, you'll encounter this. You'll encounter something that relates to that. That is, it's pointing you in the direction of opportunities, a gateway, an opening to kind of an environment or a circumstance or an experience that is intended for your highest good, that will, it's almost these little clues to the window, the opening, the escape route that you are seeking out of a situation that may feel very stale or past its expiration date, or something that you're doing that just doesn't resonate with you at a soul level. And you've really been searching, what is my purpose? What am I meant to do? How can I, have more joy? How can I sort of contribute and help others? And if you've been kind of at a loss, maybe you have a lot of ideas, you have your irons in a lot of different fires, and it's been very difficult to kind of make a choice or to ratchet things down into a concise plan. It's almost like your energies are spread very thin in many directions. In your dreams are these clues or indicators of how to really kind of step things to the next level. I'm getting the imagery of a sewing machine. So for some of you, this could directly relate to, something to do with textiles, to do with fashion, something that you've been really drawn towards. But it's also bringing to mind this idea of kind of stitching or sewing together multiple interests, multiple skills or abilities that you have, with the idea of sorcerer. And it's bringing to mind kind of the magician card in tarot, where he's got, the chalice, and he's got the pentacle, and he's got the wand, and he's got the sword, and he's got his own kind of belief and his determination and his skill and ability to take all of these things and to make magic with that, to create the life that he is seeking, to create the results that he is wanting. That in some way there are seemingly unrelated kind of, also on this luminous warrior card, and there's all these different little orbs. It's these unrelated aspects of self that you in some way are not recognizing at this point in time. That by sewing these things together, by pulling these kind of different parts of yourself together, this can be intangible skills you have, this can be interests that you have, experiences that you've had in your past. In some way you are meant to kind of mold that into or incorporate that into something that you are meant to be doing in the future, that will be very prosperous for you. It will help you to thrive. It will help you to kind of break out of the doldrums and step more into the light of your purpose. It will bring you a sense of peace and a sense of comfort. This doesn't literally need to be related to whatever little signs or the objects, the things that you're seeing, this idea of different locations. It doesn't need to relate to those things specifically, but it does feel that these things will in some way kind of occur to you. They will show up as sort of those synchronicities, those nudges that tell you to keep moving in this direction. Maybe it's something that you see, an object that you see, and then a month from now, you're exploring. Maybe you're looking for new places to live or something, and the street name is the name of whatever that object was. Maybe it's, we'll take the sewing machine example. You're seeing a sewing machine in your dream and you're looking for, a new place to move. And the street name is Sewing Circle. I don't know if that's probably there's a street out there somewhere called that. So maybe that's your sign, that's your synchronicity, but it's something of that nature where it all of a sudden resonates with that out of place object or that thing that was in your dream. And it's okay, this is the direction to move in. Maybe even literally with that reference to a sewing circle and kind of these different parts. This can talk about kind of the gathering of a community, some sort of a leadership role and position that you are meant to step into with the idea of luminous warrior. This can talk about light work, also with the idea of awakener, some kind of a platform or a podium that you are meant to really have with the owl out there with his little trumpet on top of the mountain. Some kind of challenges that you have experienced in your life really are meant to become sort of this source of power for you, or a source of empowerment to others, to help others break out of a previous mindset, a previous kind of view of things. Again, that idea of a sewing circle where you're bringing all of these people together to almost work on a group project. The idea of kind of like a quilting bee, a quilting circle where everyone's kind of bringing this patchwork in. So maybe this is kind of a collaborative effort, people that you are meant to collaborate with, people that are showing up in the dream state. Maybe it's people you haven't talked to in a while, people you haven't heard from in a while. And these dreams can be that nudge to reach out to that person or to those people, to sort of, open those doors from the past, and sort of step inside there, kind of revisit people, catch up with people from your past. Because there's something that, at this point in time, you were meant to kind of do together. You're meant to collaborate with each other, or even just that interaction can help inspire something that person says that connects a lot of these dots for you. In a lot of ways, your dreams are really this preparation, something about you, something about the experiences you have, the particular skill set that you have. It's bringing together all these kind of disparate pieces within you. It's a powerful message that you have and a powerful kind of role and ability that you are in to be that living example of sort of triumph, of alchemy, of taking, pain and disappointment and circumstances and maybe, small beginnings or meager opportunities and doing something with that, working with what you have where you are now and allowing that to kind of flourish. It's the idea of almost seeds to the wind. So something in the capacity as well of, again, like a public presence, a public forum, something where, you share messages with people. Maybe this is something where you are a channeler, you are a reader, a tarot reader, for example, something to do with spirituality, with the sorcerer, or something of an artistic capacity, maybe even just something of an educational capacity. Maybe you like to cook and you start a cooking blog, you start a cooking page on YouTube. You're giving these instructions to people. You're kind of doing that step by step. You're sharing with other people. It's something that might have just been a hobby that you had, but in some way you are infusing kind of your own energy, your own luminousness, your own vibration, and it helps to really excite and awaken people to a new way of doing something or relating to something, or a new way of being. Something that you might have really sort of been procrastinating or hesitating about because you felt that it was maybe an oversaturated saturated market. You weren't sure what you had to really bring to the table. And something in your dreams is really, it's going to connect the dots for you in a different way. So a dream journal might be very kind of crucial at this point in time, especially really obscure or out of place things, things that don't necessarily relate to what's going on, that don't make a lot of sense, something that almost seems like a distortion of what you would ordinarily associate with something. You know, you're in a house that feels so familiar, and yet it is not your home. Taking note of any kind of pieces of furniture that you see, any kind of structure, anything, any awareness you have about location, other people that might be there. Taking note of all these things, and in some way this will help to thematically or archetypally or even literally to connect kind of all these dots for you, to help you kind of have these nudges about new opportunities that will be coming to you. It feels that the dreams you're having now really relate to something, again, at a future point, but it's not the remote future. It's something like what is taking place in the dream state now. A month or several months from now, these kind of bits and pieces will start to reappear or reemerge in your conscious and waking reality, that will be almost those signposts that you can kind of leapfrog on. They'll surface almost as confirmations when you are working on something and you may be at that place of, close to giving up. You're having doubts about yourself. Things seem to be at a standstill. You've put in all this effort. You've planted those seeds. You've put yourself out there, and you're almost waiting for that manifestation or kind of the fruits to come in, and you might find yourself really discouraged, really almost with this idea here of this lion kind of in this resting position, and he's turned to stone. You've gotten tired of waiting. You're not standing in your full authenticity and power. You're doubting yourself. You're maybe on the brink of giving up. And it's these things that are happening in dreams now that you are really meant to take note of. Even if you don't write them down, it feels like a few little significant sort of tidbits will stick with you, and they will present themselves to you right at that kind of hour of need, right when you ask for that sign, right at that point when you're getting ready to give up, and all of a sudden this thing shows up, and it reminds you, of that dream, of hearing this reading and kind of the message that came through, and it awakens you to continue to go, to keep going. It's that confirmation that you're on the right path. It may just be something small, but it gives you that motivation to keep pushing. There's some kind of a major dream or achievement that you are kind of at this point in time in the process and getting ready to alchemize for yourself. It may take time to kind of bring all these pieces together, but it's something that leads to kind of a long-term goal. It's something that helps you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. It may literally involve going outside of your comfort zone. If you're kind of an introverted person, you're not somebody who's necessarily being comfortable in the public eye. Maybe it is putting yourself out there in a public platform, on a public forum, expressing your ideas, sharing your gifts with the world, sharing your gifts of kind of a divination ability and insight, a second sight. Maybe it's, again, some kind of a vision that you have, something you want to create that it's a singular vision. Only you can see that end kind of product, and it doesn't necessarily make sense to other people. And so you're kind of gathering all these different little parts, these different resources, and sewing these things together, creating this patchwork that at the final phase of it, at the final result, it all makes sense. The vision that you had, you awaken people to this idea, to this thing that you're trying to produce, this, even a business. This can even talk about, moving towards self-employment, changing locations, and other opportunities present themselves to you, relocating, for example, changing your perspective, changing your horizon, taking a higher view, a higher road on the experiences you've had, sort of repurposing things that might have been kind of overlooked skills or, the wisdom of experiences, what didn't work in the past, and utilizing that to, kind of course correct to reach your goals in a more profound way. So a lot of symbolism coming through that is really the focus of this reading, and things you're meant to focus on in your dreams. The very weird things that are showing up that, again, feel very out of place. This can even be conversations that you have with people that feel very strange, the nature of these things, just something about that. And it doesn't need to necessarily literally show up in the physical reality for you, but for a lot of you in kind of a sort of an off the cuff or in a reimagined way, these ideas and these themes, they will show up for you as kind of that motivation, that nudge, that synchronicity. Keep moving forward. Just as they are showing up in a very weird or strange way in the dream, they will show up in a very weird or strange way in your waking conscious, in your waking reality. And it's these little dots that are being connected back together that lead to something, this luminous warrior, some kind of higher purpose for yourself, some way in which you are being urged to kind of bring your light out, to shine your light, to stand in your authenticity with this owl and the trumpet. Spread that light into the world, be that example for others, help others to move beyond kind of a standstill or a stuck phase into thriving, to move out of a lack mentality into that abundance mindset. In some way, it's a very transitional, it's a transistory energy that is coming through in dreams that ties in, again, I feel, to a lot of you for your life's purpose, to getting into greater alignment with that. So I'm going to get some tarot now to get a little more clarification about this for you. Okay, so we have the Two of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Seven of Wands, so more fire energy. Four of Wands, fire energy again. And Nine of Wands, so all fire energy coming through here, which really ties into the idea of passion and purpose. With the Nine of Wands, this is the Wounded Warrior card. This can talk about defeats from your past that you are repurposing. Things with the Seven of Wands, this card of defensiveness. This can be things that, again, defeats, examples of, kind of these unrelated parts that you are sort of bringing together. With the Four of Wands, you're creating a structure, you're creating a stability out of that. Something, again, with the Seven of Wands where, you may be the only one to kind of have this image of kind of the final product of what you're working toward. It's a dream only you can see. And your dreams are, again, providing you with these little kind of clues or this imagery to motivate you to continue along that path as you are pursuing, as you are kind of bringing these different parts together, sewing together this new reality for yourself, really blazing your own trail, kind of breaking off from the pack or from the herd in some kind of a way. And what's coming through right now that will reemerge and kind of present itself in your conscious reality is, again, that reassurance from spirit to not give up, to keep pressing forward, even if it seems very unknown and it seems very, kind of dark or uncertain. You're not sure if there's going to be success or failure, to keep pushing, to keep pushing forward, to keep moving. That level of uncertainty is necessary, where you are, the only light of illumination and certainty in kind of this darkness of the new territory. You're creating something out of nothing. You're creating, something very new for you, perhaps new to the world, a new way of understanding or relating to energies or concepts, maybe something that you do. Maybe it's a new method, a new modality of healing. This can be some kind of a new business, going from working for other people to becoming, self-employed, starting something for yourself. And people around you don't necessarily understand that motivation. They question that. Some kind of a passion project that you're working towards, some kind of a hobby or an interest that you are wanting to devote more time to and focus on to bring that out into the material world. And periods of time where you will be sort of fighting this battle alone. You will be moving in silence while creating this, keeping that dream very close to yourself, trusting in sort of these winks from the universe in terms of these weird and unusual things showing up in your dreams that then present themselves in your waking reality, to keep going, to keep pressing forward. That's the thumbs up from the universe. That's all you need. With the Two of Wands, this element of choice and of really kind of taking this larger sort of perspective on things and really, taking the power into your own hands. Typically on the Two of Wands, it's the man holding the globe and looking at it. And it's really talking about you can fashion the world that you wish for yourself. Looking at limitations, reimagining limitations or defeats as opportunities for improvement, ways to kind of repurpose these things, to take those kind of nuggets of wisdom and blend these things together from many different areas of your life, many different aspects, maybe in collaboration with different kinds of people, blending together different traditions or different practices. In some way, there's a newness here. There's a patchwork quality of something that you're working toward that ties in again with these varied and unusual and weird kind of imagery, that these things that don't make sense, they add up to something larger. With the idea here as well, with the Two of Wands and these wands crossed, this can talk about, again, this kind of advice to sort of keep this dream to yourself while you're in kind of this preparation stage, that you don't. It might be a period of time where only you can see that vision. Other people aren't necessarily certain. You don't want it clouded with the doubts of other people. You don't want to kind of take on that energy from other people. It's something which it's part of your life's purpose. It will be achieved one way or another. The only way to sabotage that is through your own doubt. And it doesn't even totally sabotage it. It just perpetuates this energy of standstill, any kind of a procrastination. It just makes that process even more arduous. So there's a lot of energy in here about guidance to just, really keep this to yourself. If you're seeking that reassurance and that outside validation, kind of keeping people in your life and just people in general on an as need to know basis, involving people that are in some way part of this project or this endeavor, not necessarily going and sharing all of that, talking about it prematurely before you have the structure in place with the Four of Wands, and how these wands are almost in the shape of the box. And then we've also got the lion down here at the bottom, the lion who is in full color and vibrance in comparison to this lion who is here. He's turned to stone. He's very gray and very disappointed. This is that empowerment. This is also that protective energy, protecting that dream and that goal, building in silence, building very quietly, and that you'll know. Also, these signs and synchronicities will tell you sort of when the time is right to sort of bring that out, to make that known, but almost working a lot behind the scenes on this, seeking your validation and your confirmation from spirit, trusting in where you are being led, trusting in those nudges, those winks, and those guidance that you are receiving, that now is the point to kind of collect some of those little signs in the form of these weird dreams that are coming through, that these things will kind of be brought back around. These may even be part of the inspiration, something even in your dreams, these weird dreams that you're having. Maybe this is something you turn into art, you turn this into short stories, you turn it into paintings. The dreams themselves hold raw material for you. So to not overlook these things, to not discount these things, but these very different kind of pieces, maybe they add up to a larger story or some kind of larger inspiration for you. The colors that you're seeing, the themes you're seeing, the music you're hearing, the little imagery that comes up, all of these things can definitely be, it's almost the idea of a mosaic, kind of piecing these things together from your experiences in life, piecing things together from your experiences in dreams, and creating something very unique that awakens the world. It impacts the world. It turns the world on to a new way of doing or being or viewing something. So I'm going to get some guidance for you, one of these little angel cards. Okay, and we have freedom. Archangel Zadkiel is setting you free from the restrictions that have been blocking your peace. So this ties in beautifully with that energy of thriving and kind of moving beyond that standstill, that, this path may be very singular, but again, with this imagery, and he's looking up at that torch, all this fiery energy here, as well with the wands, that you are a light in the darkness in some way, something that you are trying to work on or are gestating or going to be in the process of creating. It is a light to others. It is a beacon to others. Again, that guidance to just be very singular, follow those signs that you are getting, kind of keeping at a minimum the need for sort of outside confirmation or validation. It's a vision that only you can see. It's a dream that only you can see. It's something that will, help to liberate other people in terms of limitations that they've placed upon themselves for maybe following their dreams. It's the idea as well of you setting yourself free from any kind of a doldrum, any kind of uncertainty or doubt that you might have about what your purpose is, what you're doing with your life, you know, the work that you're doing, something you're wanting to create that you've been procrastinating about or have been in doubt about. You're stepping into a period of sort of freeing yourself from that, freeing yourself from the need for outside validation or questioning, and just kind of moving in that energy of trust, following those signs, following those, you know, those nudges and that guidance. And on the other side of this, you won't remain in kind of that dark and uncertain period forever. That it's almost like very suddenly this opening will happen. You know, you'll be seen, you'll be noticed, your work will be appreciated. It will help provide you that kind of level of freedom, financial freedom, freedom within your heart and your soul, that the way in which you're utilizing your time on this planet and in this lifetime is of benefit. It is of purpose. It adds something to the measure of the value of the world around you. It's a very liberating energy. It's a very ascending energy. And so again, kind of these little dots, it will be connected further down the road. So take notice of these things. Don't try and decipher them or pick them apart too much now, but it's almost like a list to keep with you. Sort of like in case of emergency, sort of look at these things. When you're at your lowest point and you're filled with doubt and you might be on the brink of kind of giving up, these sort of signs will pop up and it'll fill you with all of this joy, that kind of recognition. Oh, there's that weird thing that was in my dream. There's that confirmation I see now. And it's that motivation to keep kind of pressing forward, keep reaching for that light, keep allowing that light within you to be expressed more brightly than you have up to this point in time. So I'm going to get some initials for you, and this can be first, middle, or last name, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got H, M, S, A, L, K, J, C, and N. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings, which are sent to you as a private YouTube link. Turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.